What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Hobby Drive. Got a Wednesday morning edition here. Got some white flakes falling this morning. Nothing big, just some small ones. So we got a little bit of snow going on this morning, more so than yesterday, actually. Yesterday it was kind of like a little rain and snow mixed. Today it's just snow, but very light. So wintertime is here, it seems. So anyway, I'm just headed to work and wanted to hop on for a few minutes and just talk about some stuff. A lot of times when I don't have anything to talk about, I go to Twitter. I mean, I go to Twitter and it takes usually like 10 seconds and you come up with something that you can talk about. As for what I'm going to talk about today is something that Bo, 1 Million Cubs Bo, talked about last night. And it was funny that he picked that to talk about last night, because I was like, well, when I saw it yesterday, I was like, I'm going to talk about that in the morning. And what it was is it was a tweet from Fielder Cards and Collectibles, or Fielder Cards. Anyway, and basically he had posted screenshots of a Luka Green rookie and a PSA 9, and he was kind of like, what's up with modern basketball? Like, this sold for $900 like 5 weeks ago. Now it's selling for $500. What's going on with all of this? And I responded because I was just like, there's not one good answer. I mean, there's not one reason. There are multiple reasons why the market is the way the market is. And I'm just going to tell you a few of the reasons why I feel like, cards like that are the way they are. And this is in no particular order, just kind of like the order that I wrote them down on the tweet. So first off, I said, the first thing that I said was that basically you have got traffic here. I'm driving and I'm like looking at the stuff and it's like just paying attention to what's going on out in front of me and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, here in the roundabout. But yeah, so anyway, one of the things that I said was basically you have because basketball season is just starting, you have hype. And hype is a real roller coaster. And it could be hype or anticipation. Either one. Hype, anticipation, whatever you want to call it. It's a roller coaster, man. People get fired up. Oh, man, I haven't thought about basketball in so long. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to buy some of these cards. And when I'm saying that, I'm speaking to the one that was 5 weeks ago. Now, everything's going. Things are cooling off. Now, you get into like playoff times and stuff, things will usually heat back up. Or you get into, the funniest thing is, you get into a big game, one big game out of the whole entire season, and things just blow up like crazy. So, that's part of what's going on in the market. Then another thing that basically that I feel like we're seeing sometimes when we have this is the fact that nowadays you have so many things that you can do and so many things that you can do with your money. At the peak of the last couple of years, last year and a half, whatever, people weren't able to travel, people weren't able to like go out to restaurants and bars and clubs and whatever. They weren't able to go out and do all these things, and then they were just kind of like stuck at home and they had nothing to do. So, people shop, and it was a bunch of, a lot of middle-aged men shopping online for cards. And then the news is carrying it. And the news is like, oh man, look at this. Like, it's so expensive. It's, cards are blowing up. Cards are insane, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's buying into it. Once again, that's kind of a bit of hype, but also it's kind of driven by the fact that people have more money to spend because they're not spending it elsewhere, right? They're not spending it at the bar with their friends. They're not spending it going to a baseball game. They're not spending it at the football games. They're not spending it at the basketball, like all that kind of stuff. So you got more income to throw your way. Now you don't have that income, so that's another reason. And I'm not saying that in regard to say this Luca that just sold, and because things have been opened back up and going and all that for a while now, but it did create a market where it seems like it's much more up and down at times, instead of just kind of staying up and holding it strong. So that's another little thing that I mentioned that could be some of the factors for the reason why the market is the way it is these days. So now, another thing that I said that for the reason why the market is the way it is these days is, back at the high point, back at all the hype, you had all kinds of investors, so to speak. And I say investors, so to speak, they're speculators, but you had all of these people come in and they're paying high money for stuff, they're like, but the thing is, they're kind of like, sometimes they're in these groups, and they all get together and they all decide hey, we're all gonna buy this, we're all gonna help each other out, we're all gonna pump the prices up, and then once we get comps where we want them, we're gonna sell off. That's what some of them were doing. And basically, you have people doing that, so it's creating a market that isn't necessarily the real market. And sometimes those cards are just passing back and forth between these groups, and they're never going out into the public. But sometimes you do hook one person in, and it's okay, well, yeah, I want this card, and they get in there and they get committed, and then they end up getting that card for way more than what it would have been. So you got that aspect of things that I would say play into this market now. You don't have as many of those people. I would say you don't have as many of those people in the market, these days. And I say that from the aspect, by the way, it's not raining, it's snowing a little harder now, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of them in there. There's still a lot of the investor types still in the hobby, but I feel like a lot of them got in, they made their money, they dumped everything, and now they're on to the next new thing. Could be NFTs, could be, sex dolls, or, nylon toys or whatever. Who knows what they're into, but they're some of them probably moved on and, started a career in porn, or, who knows. But anyway, so you've got that aspect of it. And then playing into that and kind of what I just said, there's another aspect of this wild and weird market these days is the shill bidding and the manipulation and all of those types of things. All it takes is a couple of people. Hey, dude, I'm gonna throw this card up on eBay. I want you to put a bid at whatever, and we're just gonna keep driving the price up. And if people keep bidding, we're just gonna bump that price up more and more and more and more. And if you win it, well, that's fine. Just pay for it, and I'll keep the card, and then we'll resell it. Like that. So you have that goes on, which creates false, false markets, false comps, or whatever you want to say. The market at the time. So anyway, I don't think the hobby is crashed. And when I say crashed, everybody's like, oh, the hobby is dead, the hobby is crashed and all that. No, I wouldn't call this, new adjustment a crash, because it wasn't overnight. You know, like these cards that a lot of these cards that I personally look at still think don't hold a lot of value still are selling for $500, right? Like I don't, a lot of these cards, I'm like, I don't think, like that Luka. I mean, nothing against Luka or anybody that collects them. I don't think a Luka rookie is worth what it's worth in graded fashion. I don't. And the reason why is because there are too many of them out there. And I know that people can say, like, oh, that's the same thing with Mike Trout. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't feel like Mike Trout cards are, like I don't feel like Mike Trout cards, PSA graded, are worth what they're selling for. I mean, that's just me. Like, I don't feel like these cards, because everybody's like, oh, but I get it. I get why a lot of the vintage cards are worth what they are, and they sell for what they sell for, PSA graded in the high grades, because there aren't many of them. There aren't 15,000 of them graded. There aren't 25,000 of them graded. There aren't 170,000 of them graded. There's like 600 of them graded. Stuff like that. So I can get that. And also, like in the high grades, where you have, say, maybe one or two like really high grades in the vintage stuff, you've got hundreds and thousands in the modern stuff. So, like I said, I just don't see that a lot of it is worth what it sells for a lot of times. Now, that's just me, and people can spend their money any way they would like. I'm not gonna tell people how to spend their money. And by the way, I've even spent my money like that. Like I've bought some PSA stuff that I was like, it's not worth that, but I'm gonna spend it because I want that, because it looks cool. That's life. We're human. We do shit like that. So anyway, that's all I had for today. Just wanted to stop by, talk a little bit about that. I'm kind of stuck behind the garbage truck at the moment. They're waving me around. Good. So yeah, stuck behind the trash truck. So anyways, that's all I had for today. Just wanted to stop in, talk a little bit about that. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and catch you next time. Peace.